One of our better years, probably the best since we've turned Division I record-wise. Carrying the momentum from last season to this year is something that we want to do, but not necessarily able to do. When you change and lose players like we have, Brian Smithson, KJ Garland, and two other seniors, Vincent James and Garrett Moles, that makes it tough. And then on top of that, we lost Kenny George. So losing 5 potential starters, only having a couple of guys, Reed August and John Williams as regulars, Sean Smith returning, then it's going to make for a whole new ball game, a lot of new faces, but still, that winning carries over, and we're looking to do that this year. I think the biggest obstacle for this year's team is the fact that we have so many new players, new faces that are young. Experience in this league is critical, and we can't get that except by playing games. So as the season goes on, as typically with UNC Asheville basketball teams, we're going to get better. And these guys are going to gain the experience that they need in order to make us a championship team at the end. At what level we can rise to in that area, I don't know. Jason Ridenauer should help a lot, because even though he's a newcomer to playing minutes, he's an old-timer as far as experience. So all those things can contribute to UNC Asheville having one of the most exciting years that we've had in a long time.
I think my role on this team this year is going to be leadership, talking to the guys, getting them motivated, and also providing hustle and enthusiasm. That's what I've done in the years past, at least from the bench. I've always tried to keep them motivated. So I think that'll be my big role this year. Well, you know, I did a little work this summer as far as playing time goes. You know, I just want to get in there, make a contribution while I'm in there. Maybe give John Williams a rest, Reed August a rest while they're still getting you know, a good amount of production out of me. The most I worked on during the off season this year was shooting. You know, we extended our three-point line back, so I worked on that to adjust to that, as well as I've worked on low post moves. I believe I'm going to be playing some down there. So I've worked on my hook shot and just trying to read the defense for a double team and stuff like that.
What do you think?
Okay, the biggest obstacle to overcome this year, well, it's a toss-up between our loss of Kenny and the amount of freshmen that we have this year. You know, first of all, you can't replace a guy like Kenny George. I mean, we really did depend on him last year, and he helped out a tremendous amount. But, you know, we'll deal with that. But the other thing, which is about tie, is how many freshmen we have this year. You know, we're gonna have a freshman point guard when we play the Carolinas, the Dukes, and they're going to need to step up and play a major role in those games. So, and they're doing well.
Fourth-year senior Reed August has been a starter for 3 years. He's done a great job of figuring out how to play with dominating players like Kenny George, like Brian Smithson and KJ Garland. And he's figured out how to mold in with those guys, how to be a piece of the puzzle. Now, with those guys gone and the other seniors, now he's going to be a focal point, and he's going to have to be to take over and do some individual things, scoring, do some things that perhaps the defense focused on him are going to be more difficult.
Being the only senior on the team this year, I'd say from last year, the main thing is just having that experience and trying to help these younger guys out a little, because we have a lot of freshmen this year. And the game that I've worked on most is really trying to create for myself a little more, because last year, you know, we had some guys creating off the dribble a lot, and sort of left me open. You know, I had some opportunities that were easy for me, and this year, you know, I'm going to have to be able to create for others. And on the leadership role, trying to be more vocal, trying to get them involved in everything we're doing, working with the plays, and just doing a little extra bit, but most of all being vocal. The key to the season, I would have to say, is going to be defense. We're going to have to be able to play help defense a lot, because, you know, obviously we don't have Kenny in there this year helping us out. So just communication and defense would probably be the best.
Yeah, Sean Smith is also a junior, has come along and has contributed quality minutes to this team in a reserve role, primarily known as a shooter. But a little over 6'6", a very tall guard with a lot of ability. He's going to have to be a better basketball player for us to be successful as we want to be this year. He's got to be a defensive presence, which he's tough, and he can guard anybody from the 2 to the 4 position, and that makes us very versatile. On the offensive end, he can play anywhere 1 through 5. We would like to count on him primarily as a 1, a 3, and a 4. However, he's got to be able to play basketball the way it's supposed to be played. He knows the game, he understands the game, and he's a good player. He's got to be able to play with a little more quickness defensively and give us the kind of leadership that we need out there on the court. He is a great shooter, and he feels, by the way he plays, that's his primary role. His primary role has to be more than. I've said this many times about John Williams, that he's one of the best athletes I've ever coached. That includes guys like David Thompson, Dominic Wilkins, Al Green, and whoever. I mean, he really does a lot of things. John's basketball is still catching up to him, and he's got to develop into a player that can do a lot of different things. His deep shot isn't too bad, and of course his dunks are phenomenal. But his mid-range game on the offensive end has to pick up some. But defensively, he can guard anybody, from a point guard to a big man. And defense is going to have to be a forte for us. And John, teaming up with Sean Smith, guys that can guard anybody at any position, we're going to have to turn into a defensive club to have the success we had last year.
The people that are coming back, that are here, kind of do have a certain swag about themselves because we know what it's like to be there. And so I feel like if we carry that into this year's season, I think we'll be okay. I feel like my biggest role would be to pick up the slack wherever there's needed. Most likely probably rebounding, probably have to step up a little bit in scoring. And being an enthusiast for the players. A lot of free throws. A lot of free throws, shooting in general, ball handling. Those were the things I needed to work on last year, and I'm still working on them. So when we played against Virginia Tech, Deron Washington's an amazing leaper as well, and he's dunked on a lot of players in the ACC. And when I went baseline, I saw him, and I didn't even think of even challenging him, but it was like the momentum and the adrenaline went up in me, and I went from a place where I haven't went before, which is behind the block, and I made it.
Preseason polls are really a lot of fun for the magazines, for the public, and for your own team. And we coaches, we all are excited to see where we're going to be picked and everything. They really don't mean as much as perhaps a lot of people put into them, but unless you're picked first. If you're picked first or second in a preseason poll, most people, your peers as coaches and the sports information directors that have seen everybody play, they think you're going to be pretty good, and probably you'll have enough talent to win the league if you're picked in the top couple of spots in those polls. UNC Asheville was picked 5th last year, and we won the regular season, and should have been a favorite and should have won the Big South Conference Championship. But we were upset by Winthrop. My first year here at UNC Asheville, we were picked 8th in an 8-team league, and we won the league that year. So preseason polls, I don't think are meant to be exactly what's going to happen. That's why we play the games. This year, I think there's 4 teams in the league: Winthrop, High Point, Liberty, Radford, that are, I think a little bit above. I don't want to say head and shoulders, but a little bit above the other 6 teams. The other 6 are kind of even with knowing who's returning and what new players they have. But somebody in that top 4, 1 maybe 2, are going to drop to that bottom group of teams and not be a factor come tournament time. Somebody in those bottom 6, maybe 1 or 2, are going to move up and be a factor come tournament time. Our goal is to be one of those that's moving up and do what we need to do come tournament time.